You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I am dropping this episode in honor of Valentine's Day. Last year, I interviewed my husband, Mitt Foley, and we had a very candid conversation around love and money during Valentine's Day. And this year, I thought it would be fun to drop an episode that could really benefit my single people out there that are listening to me. So I have Renée Suzanne. She is going to share so many mindset traps and things you can do to really set yourself up to date and to find a relationship if that's what you desire. So in the episode, we cover quite a lot. It's a longer episode, so this is one that you may want to speed up a little bit, maybe listen to it on 1.25 speed or 1.5 speed, because I really think that the conversation we have is good and it's longer, so I want you to get through it and actually take everything she says and apply it if this is something that you desire. If you want to be in a relationship, if you want to get married one day, this episode is for you. So in the episode, we cover the 4 steps to finding your perfect man. We also look at the 2 non-negotiable must-haves for your online dating profile. And then towards the latter part of this episode, you guys, Renée drops a bomb around how to spot a ladies' man. You know, the ones you really, really want to stay away from. Again, this was such a fun episode. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get to it. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, you are in for a treat. We are going to have some fun because we are talking about dating over 40 with my coaching colleague, Renée Suzanne. And I am so excited for you all to meet her. And we're going to talk about a concept that I call financial buffering. So just sit back and relax. And even if you're married or in a relationship, you'll be able to get so much value from this episode. But if you're single and you don't want to be single, this is an episode especially for you. All right, Renée, are you ready to have this amazing conversation?
I am so ready.
All right. You are so welcome. So before we dive in, just introduce yourself and tell the listeners a little bit about you.
Sure. So I'm Renée Suzanne. I am a dating coach for women over 40. And the reason I decided to do this is because I had a really hard time dating back in the day. I was a single mom of 4 kiddos. We lost their dad in the late 90s. And I was out there, you know, single mom, corporate job, degree in finance, being all the things. Like I was the mom and the breadwinner and this keeping the house and the dog and all the things, and trying to, once the dust settled and thinking that I might want to go out there and find someone to share my life with, it really was nowhere near as easy as, I don't know if I thought it would be easy, but God, I didn't think it would take 20 years. And I learned so much in my own journey that I now use to help my clients, because it really didn't have to be that hard. And I learned so much, and I love being able to help my clients to cut that journey a bit short and just get to the good part that much sooner. And you and I are both certified through the Life Coach School, which is how we got in touch. And I love blending my coaching tools that I learned with my dating experience and what I know works out there in the field.
Yes, that is exactly how I do it. Like, I learned how to get my money under control and to build wealth. And so I take my personal experience and I blend it with life coaching tools. And I am so excited that you said yes to coming on so that you can share some of those tools that you have for women who are dating. I know a couple of my clients are single and they are just like opposed to dating and they think there's no one out there. One of my clients, I said something like, you know what, you want to get in the dating pool. She was like, the pool is filled with pee. I don't want to be in that pool.
Ah, yes.
And
Oh,
I was just like, okay, so that's exactly why you probably aren't even trying to even dip your toe because you think it's filled with pee. So I am excited to have this conversation. I'm sure you're going to give us so many new things to think and so many tools to help people who are listening who want to be in the dating pool stop thinking of it as having pee in it.
that's a great analogy. The pool would be in it.
So funny. Okay, so before we get into your tools and tricks, I know one of the things we talked about and how we thought that this episode would be meaningful to my listeners because this podcast is a podcast for women who really want to build wealth and enjoy life at the same time. And so we talked about how that intersects with your world because a lot of your clients that come to you, they have been indulging in what I would call financial buffering. And financial buffering is just this terminology that says that instead of really going for what you really want, maybe a relationship, you are just like, never mind, I'm going to go on this really nice trip instead. Like you're distracting yourself with spending. It could be retail therapy. It could be extravagant trips. You're using that to distract yourself from really going after what you really want, which is a relationship. And I know that you said you experience that yourself and you see it in your clients all the time. So I would love to have that conversation with you right now.
Yeah, I do see that all the time. And I did do it myself. When I hit my 40s, I had been a very young mom and my kids were grown. So I was in this awesome empty nester situation. And I had a degree in finance and I worked in financial services, which did pay pretty well. So I had a nice little it girl apartment on the Gold Coast in Chicago. And I sold my car and walked to work every day. And I bought all the shoes. It was like kind of like that. I had the cute clothes. I went to the trendy bars and restaurants with my friends. I bought the shoes, I did the things, and I was so discouraged with dating that I would sometimes take time off from it and just think, you know what, I've got a great life. I'm successful at my job. I have these things. I have these grown kids. I love my family. I've got great friends. I can go on trips. I can buy the things. And so I would just buy things or do things, and I would call them relationship replacement activities. Shopping, going to the bars, the restaurants, the trips, the girls things. And those things were really fun and I enjoyed them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing any of them. But I did start to notice that what I really wanted was a relationship, and I wasn't doing much about pursuing that goal because I just didn't know how. But I did know how to pop into Nordstrom and buy a pair of shoes or text my girlfriends and see who wanted to check out whatever restaurant opened that week. That was easy. And figuring out how to get the thing I really wanted, I just didn't have any idea how to do that. So I did what was easier and more fun at that, like kind of a trade-off, trading what I really wanted that I didn't know how to get for what was easy to do, and the instant gratification of that.
That is so interesting because if you think about it, you were feeling better. Like those activities did make you feel better in the moment, but were there some consequences? Because someone may be listening right now, like, what's wrong with that? Like, that's what you do when you want to be in a relationship and you're not in one. You just enjoy your life and focus on that. But the problem is there sometimes can be some consequences to that. Did you experience any consequences?
Yeah. So I did enjoy those things, and I think those things are just fine. And the consequences that I experienced was I started to notice that I was hoping that I could just do those things and that somehow the relationship might just happen somehow. But when you're over 40, there are so many reasons why relationships just happening are a lot less likely. And it's not because you can't have a relationship or you're not capable of doing that. It's just that when we're younger, it's easier for things like that to fall into place because we are younger. All the people, more people our age, a higher percentage of people our age are single. We're mingling with them. We're out and about. And by the time you get to be in your late 30s, early 40s and beyond, there are fewer single people. You're not out and about as much. You're at work, you're taking care of your kids, your aging parents, you just have a lot more going on. And if you're not doing things to actively meet other people to interact with, the relationship is not going to just happen like maybe it would have when you were in your 20s. But I thought I could do these things and, oh, maybe I'll just run into somebody. And year after year after year would go by, and that was not happening. And in the meantime, I was, this was just kind of passing me by. And I really still wanted the relationship, and I still had no idea how to make that happen. And then I would see this maybe because I would by this time coaching was becoming a thing. So I'd get on somebody's email list, or I'd read a self-help book and get on their list or something, and I would see an offer for like maybe a course or a program. But I was like, well, do I go to girls' night or do I invest in this coaching or this workshop that, heck, it may or may not work. I mean, who knows? I'm not having any luck on my own, but am I going to give up a girls' night for this? Am I going to give up a vacation for this? And I was successful and I did have money, but there would have been a trade-off. There would have been something that I would have, I still had choices to make. And a lot of times I would choose the vacation or the girls' night out rather than maybe something else. And I did change that behavior. I did start to invest in coaching and learn a lot of things that did help me eventually to find my husband. But I remember looking at workshops and coaching programs and courses and things that I could do to help myself and weighing them against, well, or I could go to happy hour or
Right.
yeah.
So did you experience any financial consequences? Because I know that if you're doing a lot of like retail therapy and, vacationing that is beyond what you would normally do because you're trying to fill a void, you really want to be in a relationship and you're trying to do all of these things to fill a void, you can start doing more of that than you really want to be doing. Did you have any financial consequences? Like, were you not investing as much? Were you like going into credit card debt, or do you see this with your clients? It doesn't have to be you, but do you see this with your clients?
Well, I wasn't in debt, but I did not save. Like, if I had had someone to come home to, maybe I wouldn't have had to go to happy hour quite as much. I did notice that I didn't want to go home after work. I would go shopping or go to a bar and just have happy hour and a little snack at the bar. So there were financial consequences and maybe some health consequences, like nothing drastic, but I would be tired in the morning. I wouldn't want to go home, so I would stay out too late. And I would just really, if I had had someone to come home to or been more okay with where I was at, instead of trying to buy my way, buy things that made me feel better, and I would have maybe just gone home and saved the money. Did I need to be at happy hour 3 nights a week? Did I need to go shopping and buy things that I didn't really need just to keep from going home to an empty apartment? Did I
Mhm.
really need to do that? So I didn't get into debt, but I definitely did not invest or save as much as I might have otherwise. And now that I look back, honestly, the investment that I did eventually make in coaching, because I did get coaching and eventually a coaching certification, and I did figure it out and get married. And now, just because I have a degree in finance and I am such a nerd, my life is so much better. I invested a few $1,000s in coaching, and now I have a much better life. I have a partner who loves me and we have a great life, and I don't have to be out shopping or bar hopping or at expensive restaurants just to avoid coming home. And also I have someone to share the expenses. I we have built a really solid financial life together that I wouldn't have had if I were still single. Even if I had gotten the financial part dialed in, I'm still better off being married financially. And I'm also happier because I learned skills that are transferable, not just dating skills, but life skills about how to go for the goals that I really did want, instead of buying experiences and things that weren't giving me what I was really wanting. They were just kind of filling a gap. And I mean, I still do like to go out to dinners and on vacations, of course, but I don't do them just to avoid something that I'm not wanting to experience.
Oh, yes. I love that because that's the truth. It's like you still are going to shop. You're still are going to vacation. I teach a concept called do both, like build wealth and enjoy life. You're still going to enjoy life, and you're doing it from a place of being fulfilled. You're doing it from a place of this is the kind of life I want to live, and I have dealt with the root cause of my issues, right? I'm not doing this to distract myself because I'm afraid to step into the dating pool because I think it's pee in it, right? So that's, I think, the crux of what we're going to talk about today is like, how do you get over the mindset that is preventing you from dealing with the root cause? If you are single and you want to be in a relationship and you find yourself avoiding it because you think thoughts that are not serving you, you think thoughts that are preventing you from doing it, thoughts like there's pee in the dating pool, you could be unconsciously using your money by buying things, going on a whole lot of trips, going to happy hour, all of that, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you could be overindulging in those things. And it's preventing you from building wealth, right? So Renee just said she was spending a lot more money than she probably would have been spending. She wasn't investing, so you're missing out on all the compounding interest you could have been getting. Maybe she wasn't saving, so she didn't really have a safety net or an emergency fund. She didn't go into debt, which some people do go into debt, so you're paying credit card interest. So it's like you're doing all those things, causing those consequences, and you're not dealing with the real root cause. The real issue at hand is that you want to be partnered. You want to be in a loving relationship. And the only reason why you're not pursuing that is because you don't think you can have it. And that is where I think the rest of the conversation can go. Renee, what would you say to someone like that who just doesn't think there's someone out there for them? They don't have the confidence. They're just living in despair because they think it's not available to them.
That's so where I was. That is so where I was. I really didn't think there was anyone out there for me. And I had good friends, and the shoes were right there, and the bars and the restaurants were right there. I had a 20-minute walk home from work, and I'd pass by all of these opportunities to just hit the easy button, and instead of going home to an empty apartment and figuring out how to get what I really wanted out of life. So the first thing that I really had to do is stop waffling about it. Like, do I want this or not? Because I mean, if you just take out of the can I have it or not equation, because spoiler alert, yes, you can. Yes, you can. I believe that love is possible for any human being. there are people out there who want to love and be loved. Love is who we are as humans, and people want that connection. And so, yes, you can have it. But I too used to feel like, oh my God, I can't, there's no one out there, all these men, there's just like the leftovers of everybody who didn't get married, or the ones whose wives didn't want them, or whatever, So I would go on Match or OkCupid or Plenty of Fish or whatever and be like, what in the world? Like, and that's real. It does not look like it did when you were 20, but nothing else does either. Their life and in your 40s and beyond does look different than it did in your 20s in lots of ways, not just dating. And we accept that. We understand, hey, we have to be a little more careful about our health and what we eat. We have to be more intentional about our finances, about our lifestyle choices. You can't just go around staying up all night and drinking and doing whatever and eating junk food. You can't do that to your body anymore. You want to make plans for your finances because you understand that you have a future, you have a window of time in your life where you can earn, and you want to build a future for yourself. And those are things that we realize as we mature. And it's the same with dating. No, it doesn't look like it did in your 20s or even in your earlier 30s, but that doesn't mean that there's nobody out there for you and it's just awful and you can't have it anymore, which is what I thought too. But just because it looks different doesn't mean that you cannot have a partner. So if you decide if, do you really want this thing, whatever it is, do I want it?
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. It's like just asking yourself, what do I want? Let's take away the thoughts that I can't have it, right? Let's just get real. And some people don't want to get real and talk about what they want because they just don't think that they can have it. And so they just suppress that desire. But what if you could just open up to, okay, do I want this? Like, let that just be step number one.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want it? So you are however old you are right now. And do you want it? If you say yes, in my heart of hearts, I remember I went to some workshop or other and I had to like choke out the words that I wanted to get married. I actually admitted to other humans that I wanted to get married, and it was so hard. I was this independent, educated, successful woman who'd raised 4 kids alone, and I was like admitting to other humans that I wanted to get married. And I remember how awkward and weird I felt, like I was wanting this really crazy, weird thing, but a lot of people want to get married. It's not such a ridiculous thing to want. I kind of chuckle at it now, but it was so hard for me to admit that I wanted it. But once I admitted that I wanted it, then I could look at creating a plan to get what I wanted. So has anybody your age in your city with your basic demographics ever found a life partner? Has anybody? Is it possible? Well, of course it is. Has any, for instance, I found my husband on Tinder when I was 48 years old. So, hey, there's somebody who was 48 years old who found a great guy on Tinder. There's countless more women just like that. You could just look on Google how many 45-year-old women have found a partner, how many 50-year-old women, or so on, whatever you are, somebody has done it. You're not trying to win the Olympics. You're not trying to run a 2-minute mile on crutches or something. What you're trying to do, it might be challenging, but someone else has done it. It's not impossible. You're not defying the laws of physics. If you want to find a partner, I mean, this is a lot easier than saying, okay, I want to be the CEO of Apple or Google or something. You're just trying to find a partner. There are single people in your area that are age appropriate. It can be some work, but you're not trying to do anything ridiculous. So if you just talk to yourself a little bit about what the numbers are, other people have done this, even at your age, even in your city. It is not as hard as other things that people have done, like beat cancer or, live in a, flight of the moon or something. Yes, other people have done those things too, but this is like way more doable.
Yes, I love that. So, first things first, you talked about setting expectations. Like you said, it's not going to be like it was when you were in your 20s. Then you said, know what you want. Just admit to yourself that, yes, I want to be partnered. And then the third thing is just believe that it's possible and know that it is possible for you, specifically you, to find someone. And all you need is one person. One.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. And then you said create a plan. So can you talk to us about this plan that you help people create?
Yeah, I do this all the time, and that's my giveaway on my website. It's just a basic plan. Like once you know what you want, and you can get it. We are not defying the laws of physics. We're not flying men in from other planets or anything. Your guy he's out there right now. He's scrolling on his phone on Tinder or Match or something. He's wherever you are right now, he is out there existing in the world. He's already been born. He's already grown up. He has a life. He has a house or an apartment and a car and maybe a dog. And he's scrolling on some dating app looking for you right this minute. And what you have to do is create a plan to find him. So you want to meet people. You have to get in front of people and meet them. And my strongest suggestion is to get on a dating site or a dating app or both with really good pictures and a well-written profile. And those things make a huge difference. Learn some basic dating skills to help you screen those people so that you're not giving the rotten guys who pee in the pool a chance with you. You're actually meeting the good ones. That takes some skill. Dating is a skill that you can learn. And so you want to have some basic dating skills, know how you're going to screen these guys. And you can also go out and try to meet people out in the world. You can definitely do that too, but I strongly suggest that you are on a dating site or a dating app and you go out and meet people too, because you have to meet people if you want to find someone. There's no way around just getting out and meeting people.
Is there an app? I know you mentioned Tinder. So do you recommend Tinder? And I know quite a few people who have found their match on dating apps. One of my cousins, she met her husband on christianmingle.com. I think she met him within the first week she was on the app. And then now they've been married for like 6 years.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
If you have a really good profile and good pictures and some basic dating skills, I think any of the big sites will work. Christian Mingle is great if you're Christian and you're looking for someone who is Christian. Match.com, the big ones, the little niche ones you can certainly use, but if you're going to, I would suggest that you go on a big one as well. Like, so I know there's one like farmers only, or like there's little niche ones. So if you want to do that, that's fine, but go for the big ones too, like Match, like Tinder, like OkCupid. Hinge is really big too. Christian Mingle is great for Christians. I know that JDate is a lot of Jewish people like JDate. So it just depends, but if really the profile and the pictures and the dating skills trump everything. And then as long as you're on a big site with lots of people, you're going to do fine.
Awesome. So the profile, the pictures, and the skills. Okay, so let's talk about the pictures. What do you mean by really good pictures?
I mean, don't go through your iPhone and just post whatever is on there and cross your fingers. You want to have good pictures. And if you can get professional pictures, that is great. If that is absolutely out of reach for you, or you don't want to, I mean, first of all, if you can financially swing it at all, do it. It really helps you up level your presence. Not only are the pictures going to be amazing, but you're going to feel so cool having this photo shoot. And it's like, all right, this is the new me who's dating and I'm kicking off my like dating experience. And I mean, I did that and it was really fun. If you absolutely cannot do that, what I suggest you do is get do your makeup really nicely in your hair and have a couple of different outfit changes and maybe trade a photo session with a single friend or somebody who is willing to take really good pictures of you for the purposes of the online dating. But don't just scroll through your phone and put whatever you feel like up on that dating site. A lot of people do that. And I mean, a picture is worth 1,000 words, which is a total cliche for a reason, because this is all your person has to go on until they meet you. They're never going to click on your profile if you don't have a good picture. You're just a tiny little thumbnail that someone is scrolling through their phone and just looking at. And that picture, they don't know how amazing you are. They don't know what a wonderful human being you are and how much you have to offer until they meet you. But they're never going to meet you if they don't click on your picture and read your amazing profile. So have the best pictures you can. Look straight at the camera and smile. Do not have anything blurry or super old, or if your hair color has changed or your body has changed significantly. Just be out there with it. Post it. Men love women of all shapes and sizes and ages. They just want to know who they're talking to. So post real recent pictures. Nothing too revealing. You can show him your bikini later when you're friends, like when you know him. You don't need the bikinis or the hot shorts or the pictures of you and your 17 best friends down in margaritas at the beach. You don't want him to think of you like that. You want him to think of you as his dream girl. So be alone, looking straight at the camera, smiling, no hats, no sunglasses, no blurry, nothing old. Just you and your beautiful smile.
Yes. And have some good lighting.
Yes.
I love the photo shoot idea. I think that would be so much fun. And even if you and a couple of your girlfriends hired a photographer and you shared the cost and maybe like hired them or, him or her for like a 3-hour period and you each took an hour and you could split the cost, that would be such a good way. And it would be so much fun and everybody could have professional pictures at that point.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. And then go out and celebrate after. Go have your own
Yeah.
little happy hour, your girls. Then you can get the girls thing and the pictures. That's a brilliant
Yeah.
idea.
And I just thought of that idea,
I love
that's
that
that.
idea.
It's like the money coach, like, because I could see people thinking, I don't want to spend money on pictures. It's like, well, make it fun. Remember, do both, build wealth and enjoy life. If you want to have a partner and you're hearing from an expert that you need good pictures on your dating site, why not invest some money into that? Because that's what you really want. You really want to have a partner if that's truly your desire. And let's find a creative way to make it happen. But if that is something you're not interested in, make sure you have a really good camera. I mean, iPhone their cameras are amazing. Make sure that you have good lighting and make sure that you've wiped the lens. So many people take photos using their phone and their fingerprint is right over the camera. And so the photos look blurry. Don't do that. Make sure your lenses are clean and have fun with this. I think that's amazing. I know, Renee, you have so many tips and strategies that people can get to. And you mentioned that you have something on your website that people can download. I know we're going to talk about that a little later, but when it comes to more of the skills and the profile, but I think the picture thing is such good value just to give them right now. So the other thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up is around this. So I grew up during a time when the man was supposed to always pay for the dates. And nowadays, I know it's a little different. So any guidance or etiquette around that these days?
So I am super old school about this. This is a very personal question, and a lot of successful women clients that I have had really struggle with this because they think that they should be paying, or that the man will expect something from them if they allow him to pay. Or it might even be your way of, if, I know when I was single back in the day, I would not let a guy pay if I wanted to friend zone him. I'd be like, no, no, I got it. Like,
Hmm.
so, but I'm old school. I think that it's nice when a man pays for a date. He is investing in you. You don't owe a man anything because he has paid for a date. That is time out of your day. He invited you on this date, hopefully. I hope you're letting him invite you on the date. But yes, he can pay. I mean, you don't need to go to the most expensive restaurant in town and order lobster and caviar and a bottle of champagne and then expect him to pick up the check. But you can go to a reasonable restaurant or a place for a first date that you like. And I think that it's good to let a man pay because you want to get used to a man's attention. You want to get used to receiving from men. Men who are interested in you and want to be with you, they're going to want to do things for you. They're going to want to invest in you. They're going to want to make your life better. And when you rebuff them, they feel kind of useless to you. They want, a good man wants to impress you. Good men are givers. And when you just block that, they find someone else to give to because they think you don't want them. And I want you to be with a good man. I want every woman who wants to be with a man to be with a man who loves her and cherishes her and is good to her and willing to invest time and money and love into being with her. And that is the first opportunity you give him, is the opportunity to pay for a date that you have been on. He invites you to the date. He picks up the check. You don't even have to offer to pay. Now, a lot of people disagree with me on this. This is definitely an area where lots of people have different opinions. But sometimes I've had clients who have complained that they have offered to pay and been upset when the man said yes. So don't offer anything that you're not willing to do and you're going to be upset about. You don't have to offer to pay.
That's so good. It's like, don't ask for something you really don't want.
Yeah.
And I think too, you can use this as an opportunity. Like, really check in with yourself to see, like, what do you want? Again, going back to your first question, what do you want? Do you want to pay for the first date? And if the answer is yes, maybe ask yourself why. And if you feel like, yeah, I like my reasons, then fine.
Yeah.
But if it's like, I really want to pay for the first date and I'm afraid because, what if he doesn't? Sometimes it's like, what if he doesn't? And I'm going to feel disappointed. I'm going to feel that he doesn't like me. So it's just like, these are just great things to explore, and having someone like Renee in your corner to help you explore and see what your thought processes are around that is invaluable. And it could be a great way to see if this is a guy you want to spend time with. If he's not willing to pay, you get to decide, okay, do I want to spend time with someone who's not willing to pay for a date? Here's another thing that has been happening. I'm not sure if you've seen this on social media or not, but some women are refusing certain types of restaurants for the first date. So there was this thing that went viral. I don't know if you saw it. This man picked up a young lady and he was going to take her to the Cheesecake Factory, and she was not having it. She thought she was too good for it. And some women, these are some women, are wanting guys to do the lobster dates and the expensive dates. What are your thoughts on that? Could you set us straight? Because it's my pet peeve. When I see that, I'm like, what is wrong with the Cheesecake Factory? What is wrong with going to a coffee shop on the first date or just to get ice cream on the first date? It's just a get to know you moment. And it has nothing to do with your value. It's just getting to know someone. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm done.
This is so funny because I was that girl. I gotta tell you, I was so that girl. I was a city girl, and you better not take me to a chain restaurant. My friends and I, who were all these single women in their 40s making good money and living in the city. We did not, I still don't do chain restaurants. I'm kind of precious about it, which my husband knows. So now, spoiler alert, I married the engineer who lives in Indiana. Now I'm the city girl in Chicago. And so I married the engineer in Indiana who thinks Olive Garden is a great place. So obviously I got past this. And here's the thing. Do you want a partner who will love you and be there for you? Or do you want to go to the fancy restaurants all the time? And does it have to be with him? Can you do the fancy restaurant with your girlfriend? And if the guy wants to take you to Cheesecake Factory or Olive Garden, it doesn't mean that he's not going to be a great guy. You can always, like I did with my husband, you can always like train him once he's crazy about you. Hey, I don't really like the chain restaurants. So I would like to do something different. But for a first date, he doesn't know you yet. And if you come off as really difficult and high maintenance, and believe me, I am high maintenance. You ask my husband, he will tell you that I am ridiculously high maintenance. And I've got no judgment there. I could not judge anybody on that at all. You could be as high maintenance as you want to be and still want to meet people and want to give men a chance and not disqualify them for things that don't have anything to do with having a good relationship. So you could go to Cheesecake Factory or Olive Garden on that first date and get to know him and then go with your friends for lobster and champagne the next day. That's totally fine. And you could get to know this man for who he is. Maybe he is awesome. And like my husband, for whatever reason, thinks Olive Garden and Applebee's are just amazing. And you can enlighten him later when he's crazy about you. You don't have to do it for the rest of your life. You don't have to envision a endless parade of mediocre restaurants being your future because you chose to be with this guy. You could just get to know him and then later on indicate what your preference is. But remember the qualities that you are looking for. If you are looking for a life partner, then where does that fall in the scheme of things? And especially if you want to be married, if you want to be in a long-term relationship, there are compromises that need to be made. Relationships are about learning to fit with each other, learning where, you can't get your way all the time. So where can you be a little more flexible and where do you really hold the line? And for me, that was, is he a good guy? Does
Yeah.
he care about me? Is he honest? Is he loyal? Does he even want to get married? Does he want the kind of relationship that I want? And that matters way more than where he takes you on that first date, I promise.
Absolutely. So there's two things I want to say about that. I think one of the things is a lot of these women who are getting upset, they are taking it personally. Like you just said that my husband thinks Olive Garden is a great restaurant. So he may have taken you there because he thought it was a good restaurant. That is his thought process. It wasn't because I don't value Renee, so I'm going to take her to Olive Garden or I'm just going to buy her this cheap meal. Like that wasn't his thought process. He actually liked the Olive Garden. So I think us ladies, we need to not take that stuff personal. The other thing is when I first met my husband, so I am a high maintenance person myself, right? I have a little bit of a high maintenance tinge to me. I'm just going to be honest. And when I first met my husband, he was not dressed the way I would have liked him to be dressed. Let's just leave it there. And if I would have taken that as like, he's not for me, look how he's dressed. He doesn't know how to dress. He doesn't know how to spend money on nice things. I would have missed out on my husband, right? So sometimes when we judge people on those small things, we miss out on something that could have been incredible.
That is so true. And I just thought of this and I really want to say, guys who are always dressed to the nines, guys who know how to date, always say the right thing, know all the good restaurants. A lot of times they're all flash and no substance. Those are the professional daters. Those are the one, oh yeah, they might want to impress you, but they're looking for a quick thing.
Mm-hmm.
not the long-term relationship. You know, if dude takes you to Olive Garden and doesn't know how to dress really that great, you're not dealing with Mr. Slick Ladies Man. You're probably dealing with somebody who actually isn't that polished of a dater, because how do you get good at anything? Experience. You don't want Mr. Smooth always takes you to the whatever. A guy who takes you to Cheesecake Factory or Applebee's and maybe doesn't show up all polished and smooth, he's the one that is much more likely to value you. He doesn't have 10 women texting him when he gets home.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was the gold. I think that was the whole podcast right there. Oh my God. That is so true. It's like he's the diamond in the rough and he doesn't have all the skills, right? He doesn't know all the clothes. Now my husband dressed amazing. Like I have to tell him to calm down a little bit. I'm like, calm down, calm down. And he learned, kind of like how you said, I had to, train my husband that I like nice restaurants and I don't want to go to the chains. I helped my husband dress very well now, and that's okay. And we're not changing their personalities. We're not changing who they are. We want to be clear on that. But we can change, clothing and which restaurants we go to. So I want to be clear that we're not saying you can train them to become somebody they're not, but you can help them to be more refined in the restaurants that they choose or the clothes that they wear, right? And I think, Renee, you just summed it all up with that bomb you dropped, that mic you dropped a few minutes ago. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap things up?
Yeah, first of all, if you are doubting whether or not there is a good guy out there for you, I promise you there is. And I want you to know, no matter where you are today, like if you want this, you can have it. And it does seem difficult, but there are different ways that you can look at this that just turn everything around. And the guys who want to take you to Applebee's, the guys who maybe don't show up dressed to the nines, the guy who maybe has the pictures that aren't that great or the boring profiles with a typo or two, those could very well be the love of your life. And you're scrolling past them in favor of Mr. Smooth, who will take you for the lobster. And the problem with that is all of the women on the sites and the apps are fighting for that kind of guy and ignoring your future husband who wants nothing more than to meet you and take you to Applebee's.
On the first date.
On the first date, not for the rest of your life. My husband
Right.
now knows how to find good restaurants.
Yeah. And my husband knows how to dress now.
Exactly. So instead of fighting for the 5 to 10% of the guys on the dating apps and sites that all the other women want to date who aren't even that great. And let's be honest, you've dated those guys, this. You're hoping that you're going to meet the one who is better. But what you can do instead is meet the guy who has the qualities that are really important and skip the window dressing. Let the other women fight for that nonsense. You don't need that.
Love it so much. That was so good. So I just want to thank you, Renee, for coming on and helping my listeners really see that, you know what, you can build wealth and date, right? You can take care of your money and date. And if you really want to be dating and you find yourself not dating because you think there's pee in the pool, but you notice that you're doing a lot of spending, overspending, lots of restaurants, lots of happy hours, lots of shopping, lots of travel. Again, nothing wrong with those things. But if you're doing it because it is a way to distract yourself and your financial goals are suffering, you're not saving, maybe you're going into debt, you're not investing like you want to, then this is a great episode to listen to again so that you can see if you identify with that. And if you do, Renee has given you so many tips and tools that you can use to find the person for you and to stop using your money as a buffer to prevent you from going after what you truly, truly want. So with that, Renee, please let my listeners know how they can contact you. I know you mentioned that you have something on your website that would be a great resource for them. So just tell us all the things.
Great. Yeah. You can go to bit.ly/man plan. Man plan is all in caps. And that's where you can find my guide to help you find a good man. So bit.ly/man plan. Man plan's all in caps. And it's totally free. It's a PDF and a video to help you make your own plan to find a good man who's going to treat you amazing.
So good. And I will have that link in the show notes. So all you have to do is go to the show notes and sign up for it and get your plan and get your photo shoot too. I think that's going to be so much fun, and share it with your girlfriends if you don't want to do it by yourself. All right. Thank you, Renee, for being here with me today. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye. Wait, before you go, have you checked out my free class? It's all about the steps you need to take if you want to build wealth without going on a strict budget. To sign up, simply go to jermainfoley.com/wealth class. That's Jermaine with a G, foley.com/wealth class. See you in there.